Akkam soorata Gadaa miidiyaa neetworkii kuni qophii hiriira nagaa as Waashingtanitti qophaa'ee amma Gadaa miidiyaan sun kallattiidhaan isiniif dabarsuuf jedha. Egaan sagantaa kana immoo akkasiin waliif qoodanii uummata keessaniif akka waliin geessan abdii guddaa qabna. Egaan amma dhumaatti nu kataan hordofaa keenya. US, stop aiding the Mascar regime in Ethiopia. Wabon wabi Oromoti. OLA, fighters for justice and freedom. Wabon, Mirga, Hire, Murtefalla, Umata, Oromoo, Qabsoo, Nuunti Kenya, Waboda, Nuunti Kenya, Waboda, US, stop funding, financing, supporting the killer regime of Ethiopia. US, stop supporting the killer regime, the terrorist regime of Ethiopia. Abiy must go. Ethiopian empire must go. US, stand with Oromoo people, free all Oromoo political prisoners, free all Oromoo political prisoners. US, stop financing, supporting the killer regime of Ethiopia. Justice now. When justice, democracy. We demand freedom. No, justice, democracy. We demand freedom. Amara militia out of Oromia. Now, Jensen, Amara militia out of Oromia. When militia out of Amara militia out of Oromia. When justice, freedom, equality. Now, stop burning Oromoo village. Self-determination for Oromia. Self-determination for Oromia. US, do not turn blind eye on genocide. US, stop funding, supporting the killer regime, the terrorist regime of Ethiopia. US, stand with Oromoo people. We demand for justice. We demand for equality. We demand for freedom.
fighters for freedom, for equality, for justice. We demand for justice, remove all regional military from Oromia. Remove all regional military from Oromia. Stop Ethiopian state. Stop Ethiopian state. Sponsored terrorists on Oromia. Stop Ethiopian state. Sponsored terrorists on Oromia. Justice now. When? Justice now. When? Freedom now. Equality now. Freedom now. No. We demand freedom. We demand equality. We demand justice. U.S. stop supporting, aiding the terrorist regime, the killer regime of Ethiopia. Abiy must go. The Ethiopian empire must go. Ethiopian empire must go. Oromo marching for justice, for equality, for freedom. War cannot bring peace. War cannot bring peace. War cannot bring justice. War cannot bring equality. War cannot bring freedom. Freedom for Oromo people. Justice for Oromo people. U.S. Mr. Biden, stop supporting, aiding the killer regime of Ethiopia. U.S. Mr. Biden, stop funding the terrorist regime of Ethiopia. We demand freedom now.
Okay. Oromo Jirtu. Ani wabora. Oromo nundumtu wabora. We demand U.S. stop supporting the terrorist regime, the brutal regime of Abiy Ahmed. We demand U.S. to stop supporting, financing the taxpayers' money to the brutal regime, to fascist regime of Ethiopia. U.S. stop financing the terrorist regime, the brutal regime of Ethiopia. Ethiopian regime, stop killing innocent Oromo farmers. Who we are. Abiy must go. Abiy must go. U.S. stop aiding massacre regime in Ethiopia. OLA fights for justice and freedom. Abiy is a tyrant, must go. U.S. stop aiding a tyrant regime in Ethiopia. Abiy is a war criminal. Abiy is a war criminal. No peace in Oromia. No peace in East Africa. No peace in Oromia. No peace in East Africa. OLA condemning targeting of civilians. Stop genocide. War on Oromia. Independent investigation into all human rights violation in Oromia. Independent investigation into all massacres in Oromia. Stop war on Oromia. Stop state-sponsored terrorism on Oromia. Terrorist Amara, Fano, out of Oromia. Terrorist Amara, Fano, out of Oromia. Ethiopian army, go to Barak. Freedom for all Oromo political prisoners. No justice in Oromia. No justice in Oromia. No peace in Ethiopia. Stop Oromo genocide. Stop Oromo genocide. Oromo families are waiting for justice, freedom, and justice for Oromo people. When? Now. When? Free all Oromo political prisoners. Abiy must go. Abiy must go. Abiy is a terrorist. Abiy is a terrorist. Ethiopian empire must be dismantled. Ethiopian empire must be dismantled. OLA dismantling the Ethiopian empire. We all OLA. We all OLA. Ani Wabora. Ani Wabora. Wabon, Bilisuma, Ummata Oromoo, Walabumma, Oromoo, Warana. Abiy must go. Abiy must go. U.S. stop aiding massacre regime in Ethiopia. In Ethiopia. Abiy is a tyrant. Must go. Abiy is a terrorist regime. Abiy is a fascist regime. Abiy is a brutal regime. We demand U.S. to stop financing the taxpayers' money for the brutal regime. For the terrorist regime of Ethiopia. We demand U.S. to stop financing the brutal regime, the terrorist regime of Ethiopia. Abiy is a terrorist regime. Abiy regime is is a massacre regime. Withdraw Amara militias and the Fano from Oromia. Withdraw Amara militias and the Fano from Oromia. Oromoo-Jirtu! 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 Who are we? Who are we? What do we need? What do we need? Justice for all Oromo political prisoners now. Justice for all Oromo political prisoners now. Stop genocide in Oromia. Stop genocide in Oromia. US, stop supporting, stop financing the killer regime, the terrorist regime, the butcher regime in Ethiopia. Abiy must go. Abiy must go. Stop killing in Oromia. Stop killing Oromos in Ethiopia. Who are we? Who are we? What do we need? What do we need? What do we need? What do we need? United States, US, stop supporting the butcher regime, the killer regime, the terrorist regime in Ethiopia. Abiy must go. No justice in Oromia. No justice in Oromia. No peace in Ethiopia. No peace in East Africa. Abiy must go. US, stop wasting taxpayers' money on a killer regime, on a terrorist regime in Ethiopia. Abiy must go. Abiy must go. No justice in Oromia. No justice in Oromia. No justice in Ethiopia. No justice in East Africa. Abiy must go. We demand the withdrawal of the Ethiopian army from Oromia. From Oromia. Amara militia out of Oromia. Amara militia out of Oromia. Terrorist Fano out of Oromia. Terrorist Fano out of Oromia. Eritrean troops out of Oromia. Oromia belongs to Oromos. Oromia belongs to Oromos. Freedom for all Oromo political prisoners now.
Freedom for all Oromo political prisoners now.
Freedom for all Oromo political prisoners now. Abiy must go. All our fighters fighting for freedom and fighting for justice, fighting for democracy. Democracy, yes. Democracy, yes. Freedom, yes. Dictatorship, no. Dictatorship, no. Abiy must go. United States recognize the genocide in Ethiopia, in Oromia. Abiy must go. We demand, we force, we claim our freedom. Our freedom. Oromia is a free land. We're born free. We're gonna die free. Abiy must go. Abiy must go. Nuti enyu. Wabora nuti enyu. Nuti enyu. Wabo. Isini wajinjira.
biyya keessaniif du'aa jirtu isin bira dhaabbachaa jirra nuti isin bira dhaabbachaa jirra biyya keenya hindeeffanna Ethiopian Oromoodhaaf rakkoodha Ethiopiaaf Oromoon walii wajjin jiraachuu hin dandeessu Ethiopia out of Oromia Oromia belongs to Oromos fascist Fano out of Oromia terrorist Fano out of Oromia Oromia belongs to Oromos no justice in Oromia no justice in Oromia no justice in Sidama Oromia belongs to us belongs to Oromos mirga Kenya Qabsoo Kenya defanna Kanadan in debut Maridan in debut biyya dammaaf dhadhaan irraa argamu ayyaa burqu diinni tolaan keessaan baatu diinni kan keessaa ba'uu dandeessu qawweedhaani humnaani jaalalaan nu dhiiftee hin deemtu waraana bira dhaabbachuun dirqama Oromummaati sagalee waraana keenyaa ta'uun dirqama Oromummaati diinni kaleessa Itoophiyaa hin suphidu Itoophiyaan qiree galti Itoophiyaa hin feenu Itoophiyaan Oromoodhaaf summiidha Itoophiyaa hin barbaadu Ethiopia humnaan of keessaa baafna Who are we? What do we need? When do we need independent investigation into human rights violations in Oromia? US stop supporting stop financing the butcher regime the killer regime the terrorist regime in Ethiopia Abiy must go Abiy is unfit to lead Abiy is a terrorist Ogganni keenya waboodha bulchiisni keenya waboodha waboo jalatti bulla ummata Oromoo hin burjaaja'ina afaan kamiyyuu tooftaan kamiyyuu qabsoo kana waggaa 150 dura booddeetti deebifne haramaatiif deebisan kaleessa hin deebifne haramaatiif deebisan Itoophiyaan Oromoodhaaf summiidha malee suusii miti Itoophiyaa keessatti hayyuu keenya dhabne dubartii ulfaa dhabne ilma waggaa 3 dhabne maatiin buqqee kana Itoophiyaa wajjin jiraannaa Itoophiyaan hin subbabtu hin jiraattu Itoophiyaan Oromoo irratti ijaaramte malee Oromoof hin ijaaramne Oromoo irratti ijaaramte Oromoodhaaf hin taatu Itoophiyaa kan nuyi of keessaa buqqisuu dandeenyu qabsoo keenya bira yoo dhaabbanneedha waraana keenyaaf yoo sagalee taanedha waraana keenyaaf yoo humna taanedha aarsaa baasaa jirtu kunis aarsaadha as dhaabbachuun aarsaadha aarsaa baasaa lafee isaaniif dhiiga isaanii nuuf cabsaa jirru nuuf du'aa jiru haadha kootiif haadha keessanii du'aa jiru ilmaan Oromootiif du'aa jiru seenaan Oromoo akka hin banneef qabsaa'aa jiru diinni garuu gadaa keenya ajjeestee seenaa keenya balleessitee Itoophiyaa lafeef dhiiga Oromoo irratti ijaaruu barbaadde inni hin galleef Itoophiyaan waan Oromiyaa keessa mataa ol qabatee jiraatu itti fakkaatee Oromiyaan ni dogoggorra burjaajirraa dhaabbadhaa kanaan dura hin taane ammas hin ta'u gara fuulduraattis hin ta'u Itoophiyaa wajjin jiraachuu dandeenyu galatooma nam beeka I see this I know this Oromia will be free nin argina adeefisin Yoo arguu baanne ijoolleen keenya hin argu. Itoophiyaan Oromiyaa keessa. Itoophiyaan Oromiyaa keessaa hin baati. Lafeef dhiiga Oromootiin Oromiyaan mataa ishee ol qabattee jiraatti. We don't demand freedom from anyone. We demand freedom from our hand. We claim our freedom. We claim our independence. No US will give you a dependency. We are demanding the US to stop supporting the terrorist regime, to stop wasting my money and your money, killing my parents, killing my people, killing the Oromo children. We demand your money to be not given to the terrorist regime. Oromos are demanding, Oromos are telling the United States people to pay attention where their money is going. This day, United States is wasting millions of dollars on a terrorist regime like Abiy in other countries. Something not of our business, but our money is killing our people. We've been demanding, we've been sending letters in this office, in this building for years. The money, my money never stopped from being given to the terrorist regime. I am a US citizen. I have the right to ask, to demand my money not to given to the terrorist regime. Why US have to stand with the butcher regime, with the killer regime? The Ethiopian regime is buying drones from Turkey, from Iran, from Dubai, to kill the innocent Oromo people, the innocent Tagarus. Today there is a drone attack in Oromia. As we see, Oromo people are getting killed by the drone, by my dollar, by your money. We demand the United States government to stop sponsoring the terrorists, to stop wasting my money. Who are we? Who are we? What do we need? What do we need? What do we need? Justice for all Oromo political prisoners now. Justice for all Oromo political prisoners now. Freedom for all Oromo people now. Oromo jirtu. Debotani. Wabon bishan chorro kadu ke isnif kapsa. Bishan to kwakal dufun fedun torean. Malsa belof na malsa debon na malsa datavna. Can you stand here 365 days? Can you even stand here for 5 hours? Wabo is on a bush, in a bush. Isnif kapsa mi ledwa marumansa hidate. Daku mankato kafatina kate bishani tuluge. Isnif kapsa wabo birada bachundir kama. How many of us in Kenya make a Kenya guya dan yo Kristana tane kadande jilbe fanne waka jolle kanaf kadanna. Isnif kapsa jiru kadadafi birada badda. Self-determination for Oromo people now. Self-determination for Oromia now. Freedom for Oromo people now. Stop burning Oromo village now. Stop burning Oromo village now. Stop looting Oromo belongings now. Stop eviction and land grabbing in Oromia. Peace, yes. Peace, yes. Democracy, yes. Democracy, yes. War, no. War, no. War, no. Justice, yes. Justice, yes. Abiy must go. Abiy Ahmed is a killer. Abiy Ahmed is a terrorist. Abiy Ahmed is a terrorist. Stop evicting Oromo farmers now. Stop evicting Oromo farmers now. Stop evicting Oromo farmers now. Stop genocide in Oromia. Stop genocide in Oromia. Abiy Ahmed is a killer. No justice in Oromia. No justice in Oromia. No justice in Sidama. No justice in Tigray. Abiy must go. Ethiopian Prime Minister is a terrorist. Ethiopian Prime Minister is a killer. Ethiopian Prime Minister is a butcher regime. Abiy Ahmed is starving the Oromo people. Urgent humanitarian aid. Urgent humanitarian aid for victims of war in Oromia. In Oromia. Terrorist fund no out of Oromia. Terrorist fund no out of Oromia. Amara militia out of Oromia. Oromia belongs to Oromos. Oromia belongs to Oromos. Eritrean troops out of Oromia. Stop terrorism in Oromia. United States, US, stop financing the killer regime, the butcher regime, the terrorist regime in Ethiopia. Stop killing Oromo civilians using drones in Oromia. No justice in Oromia. No justice in Oromia. No democracy in Oromia. No freedom in Oromia. Oromia ni bilisomti. Oromia shall be free. Jirtu Oromo. Esa jirtu. Malif. US, do not turn blind. Do not blind eye on genocide. US, Mr. Biden, US, Mr. Biden, stop funding, supporting the terrorist regime of Ethiopia. US, stop funding, supporting the terrorist regime of Ethiopia. Abiy Ahmed must go. Bilsagina must go. Prosperity Party must go. Ethiopian Empire must go. US, Mr. Biden, stop supporting, financing the terrorist regime of Ethiopia. Abiy Ahmed is a killer. Abiy Ahmed is a butcher. Bilsagina is a butcher. Ethiopian military is a butcher. Fano is a butcher. Amara militia out of Oromia. Eritrean troops out of Oromia. Ethiopian troops out of Oromia. Stop evicting Oromo farmers from their land. Justice now. Freedom now. Equality now. Self-determination now. We march for justice. We march for equality. We march for self-determination. Democracy now. Justice now. Stop. Drone attack on Oromo farmers. Stop killing Oromo women. Stop raping Oromo women. Ethiopian troops, Amara militia, out of Oromia. US, stop funding the terrorist regime of Ethiopia. Stop drone attack on Oromo farmers. US, stop funding, financing, supporting the killer regime, the terrorist regime of Ethiopia. Amara militia out of Oromia. Eritrean troops out of Oromia. Fano terrorists out of Oromia. Amara militia out of Oromia. Oromo marching for justice. Oromo marching for equality. Oromo demand for justice. We need justice. We need equality. We need self-determination. We march for justice. US, stand with Oromo people. US, stand with Oromo people. US, stop with the Ethiopian terrorist regime. US, stop standing with the terrorist regime. US, stand with Oromo people. Oromo people demand for equality. Oromo people marching for equality. Wobon, Mirga, Hiramutefana, Ummata, Oromo, Lola, Ali, Wobona, OLA, Oromo, Liberation Army, fighting for the Oromo people. We all, OLA, Wobon, Wabi, Ummata, Oromoti, Wobon, Hiremutefana, Mirga Babi Yuma, Ummata Oromo, Ugomsu, Qabsoo, Wobon, Wabi, Ummata, Oromoti, OLA, fight for the Oromo people. OLA, Ethiopian terrorists must go. Ethiopian terrorist regime must go. Ethiopian empire must go. Ethiopian empire must collapse. Must collapse. When? 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 We need justice. When? When? We need equality. When? When? We need freedom. When? When? We need equality. When? When? We need justice. When? Oromo people marching for freedom. Abiy Ahmed must go. Abiy Ahmed must go. When? When? Abiy Ahmed must go. When? Now! Now! Ethiopian regime is a terrorist regime. Abiy Ahmed is a terrorist regime. Abiy Ahmed cannot fit to be in office. Abiy Ahmed cannot fit to be in office. Must remove. Must remove. Must remove. Ethiopian empire must collapse. Must collapse. Bilsigna must go. US stand with Oromo people. US stop supporting financing the terrorist regime of Ethiopia. US break your silence. Break your silence. US break your silence. Break your silence. Mr. Biden, break your silence. Break your silence. Oromo people are dying. Stop supporting. Stop financing the terrorist regime, the butcher regime of Ethiopia. US, Mr. Biden must break your silence. Break your silence. Mr. Biden, break your silence. We're marching for equality. We're marching for justice. We march for justice. Oromo marching for equality, for freedom, for justice. Abiy Ahmed must go. Bilsigna party must go. Ethiopian empire must collapse. First, self-determination for Oromo people now. When? Self-determination for the Oromo people now. When? We marching for equality. We marching for equality. Now, self-determination for Oromo people. Self-determination for Oromo people. Self-determination for Oromo people. Freedom for Oromo people. Freedom for Oromo people. Freedom for Oromia. Stop burning Oromo farmers. Stop burning Oromo farmers. Oromo jirtu. Enyunui. Wabara. Enyusin. Anis. Ijoolleen keenya isin adagaan isin eenyu wajjin jirtu biyya keenya maaliif deeffanna mirga keenya akkamiin deebi'a ani eenyu waboo konu jirtu waboo isin dhaga'u kan jedhaa jira humna isaanii taanaa fi lafee isaanii cabsaa jiru isiniif aniif isin bakka mijaa qabbana barbaadannee akka aduun hin gubneef akka hin dheebonneef bishaan guurrannee bishaan qulqulluu fudhannee dhufnee jirra. Yeroo kana gamnooti keenya jaboon keenya nuuf kuffanii kuffisaa jiru. Mirga abbaa biyyummaa akka deeffannuuf Itoophiyaan Oromoodhaaf dukkana sababa ta'eef, Itoophiyaan Oromoodhaaf rakkoo sababa ta'eef, warri kun lamaan walii wajjin jiraachuu sababa hin dandeenyeef isiniif jedhanii laga jiru. Galateeffadhaa. Galatooma. Galatooma. Hireen Oromoo. Hireen Oromoo. Hireen Oromoo. Humna Oromootiin bakka gaa. Qabsoon keenya. Qabsoon keenya. Humna keenyaan mirga keenya deeffanna. Oromoon biyya qaba. Safuu qaba. Seenaa qaba. Oromoon hiree isaa mataa isaatiin murteeffata. Eenyuun iyyuu hin kadhatu, hin mari'atu. Waa'ee isaa irratti Oromoon dabarsee hin kennu. Dubbii keessa nan galchinaa maaliif iyyuu. Wobo! 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 Lammata akkanii saantiisniin godhetaa. All right. Oromoo jirtu! 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 Who are we? Kero! Who are we? Who are we? What do we need? What do we need? No justice in Oromia! No justice in Oromia! No justice in Oromia! US! 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 Secretary Blinken! Mr. Blinken! Mr. Blinken! Listen to the Oromos! Stop financing! Stop supporting! Stop funding the butcher regime, the terrorist regime, the killer regime in Ethiopia. Stop genocide in Oromia. Stop genocide in Oromia. Ethiopian Prime Minister is a killer. Ethiopian Prime Minister is a butcher. We demand justice now. We demand justice now. We fight for justice now. Independent investigation. Independent investigations into human rights violation in Oromia. Abiy Ahmed is starving the Oromo people. Urgent humanitarian aid. Urgent humanitarian aid for victims of war. For victims of war in Oromia. In Oromia. Tag number inside LMX Pennsylvania kan ta'e 1860 konkolaataa keessan kaasaa. Nissan 1860 Pennsylvania tag. Please utuu tikeetiin argatin maallaqa sanan barbaannaa fi waan dhimma qaba maallaqni isa sanaaf kaffalamu. Waa tokkoof barbaanna. Miti. Okay. No American taxpayers money for a killer regime, for a butcher regime of Ethiopia. Of Ethiopia. Who are we? Who are we? Who are we? What do we need? War cannot bring. War cannot bring peace in Ethiopia. War cannot bring peace in Ethiopia. Remove all Remove all regional militias from Oromia. Terrorist fund out of Oromia. Terrorist fund out of Oromia. Amara militia out of Oromia. Amara militia out of Oromia. Oromia belongs to Oromos. Oromia belongs to Oromos. Oromia belongs to Oromos. Eritrean troops out of Oromia. Eritrean troops out of Oromia. US, do not turn blind eyes on genocide in Oromia. In Oromia, stop burning Oromo village. Mr. Blinken, Secretary Blinken, stop wasting, stop financing taxpayers' money to the butcher regime, to the killer regime, to the terrorist regime in Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, Abiy must go. Abiy must go. Justice now. Justice now. Democracy now. Democracy now. Democracy now. Dictatorship no. Dictatorship no. War no. War no. Amara militia out of Oromia. Amara militia out of Oromia. Amara militia out of Oromia. Oromia belongs to Oromos. Oromia belongs to Oromos. Ethiopian Oromoo rakkoodha. Diinni keenya hadageessu firri sadaga'u ittima. Ethiopian Oromoo rakkoodha. Ethiopian Oromoo rakkoodha. Ethiopian Oromoo keessa ni baati. Qabsoon keenya Ethiopian Oromoo keessa baasa. Oromoo Ethiopia hin suphinu. Ethiopia hin suphinu. Ethiopian kilee galti. We demand justice now. We demand freedom now. Amara militia out of Oromia now. Terrorist fund out of Oromia now. Stop evicting. Stop evicting Oromo farmers from their land. From their land. Amara militia out of Oromia. Terrorist fund out of Oromia. Eritrean troops out of Oromia. No justice in Oromia. No justice in Oromia. No peace in Ethiopia. No peace in Ethiopia. No justice in Oromia. No peace in East Africa. No justice in Oromia. No peace in East Africa. Qabsoon keenya dhaabbatee beeka. Har'a hin dhaabbata. Hin dhaabbatu. Qabsoon keenya galman geessi. Eeyyee galman geessi galatooma. Oromoon hin bilisoomti nan beeka.
Okay, inda qabdan natti fakkaata. Inda qabne mini. Inda qabnu nuti akkanatti saamee koo dhaabbanne iyyuu inda qabnu warri caakkaa keessaa, shorroqa keessaa, laga keessaa utaalee nafsee isaa tokkittii qabu iyyuu nuu kennee warri bilisa nu baasuudhaaf waraanaa jiru iyyuu dadhabu. Kanaaf nuti immoo sa'a lama sadii akkana dhaabbachuu hin dadhabnu. Kanaaf warri garas dhaabbattan mi'aan siqaa sagalee keessan ol duukaa walitti qabnee haa jennu wadaraa. Please. Jirra. Wabora. We demand US to stop financing the taxpayers' money to the terrorists, to the fascists, to the brutal Ethiopian regime. Ethiopian regime is a terrorist. Abiy is a terrorist. Abiy must go. Abiy must go. The terrorist regime must go. The Oromo people fighting for justice. The Oromo people marching for justice. We demand for justice. We demand US to stop financing the taxpayers' money to the project, to the Ethiopian regime. Ethiopian regime is a terrorist regime. Abiy must go. Abiy must go. Abiy must go. He is never, ever fit to rule that empire. That empire must be dismantled. We marching for justice, for freedom, for democracy. The Oromo people determination. The Oromo people fighting for justice. For justice. Abiy regime is a fascist regime. Is a dictator regime. He should not fit for rule to rule the empire.
Abiy is not fit to rule Ethiopia.
Abiy is unfit to rule that empire.
Abiy is unfit to rule that empire.
The Ethiopian empire must be dismantled.
The Ethiopian empire must be dismantled.
We fight for justice. We fight for freedom. We fight for justice. We fight for democracy. The Oromo people fighting for self-determination. For self-determination. We demand US to stop financing the dictator regime, the brutal regime, the killer regime, the fascist regime of Ethiopia. The Ethiopian regime is a terrorist regime. The Oromo people fighting for self-determination. We're fighting for self-determination. Abiy must go. Abiy must go. Abiy is a brutal regime. Ethiopian ruler is a fascist regime. Abiy must go. Must go. We fight for freedom. We fight for justice. We march for justice. We march for democracy. We march for freedom. Abiy must go. Abiy must go. We demand US to stop financing the dictator regime, the killer regime, the brutal regime of Ethiopia. The Ethiopian regime is a dictator regime. The Ethiopian regime is a fascist regime. It's a fascist regime. Abiy must go. Abiy is a brutal regime. He must go. He must go. We demand the Amara militia to out of Oromia. We demand the Fano fascist militia out of Oromia. We demand the Eritrean regime out of Oromia. We demand the Eritrean militia out of Oromia. Oromia belongs to Oromos. Oromia belongs to Oromos. We fight for justice. We fight for freedom. We fight for democracy. We fight for self-determination. Abiy is a fascist. A fascist must go. Abiy must go. Abiy must go. We marching for justice. We marching for freedom. We marching for freedom. The Oromo people demand justice. We demand justice. We fight for justice.
All right, jirtu. Abbootiin amantaa keenya gara fuulduraatti as dhufaa jiru. Galatoomaa jennaan galatoomaa kana baay'ifnu har'a miti. Eenyuun galateeffannaa? Galatee eenyuu qabna? Eenyuuf qabsaa jira Oromoon? Waboonuuf qabsaa jira. Galatooma. Tun sagalee qabaadheen sirbaaf ture. Who are we? What do we need? When do we need? US! Stop financing! Stop supporting the terrorist regime! The butcher regime of Ethiopia! Abiy is a killer! Abiy Ahmed is a terrorist! Abiy Ahmed is a butcher! Remove all regional militias from Oromia! Oromia belongs to Oromos! Oromia belongs to Oromos! No justice in Oromia! No justice in Oromia! No justice in Oromia! No justice in Oromia! No justice in Sidama! No justice in Tigray! Abiy must go! Abiy is unfit to lead! Abiy is a terrorist! Abiy is a butcher! Stop burning Oromo village now! Justice now! Justice now! Democracy now! Democracy now! Justice yes! Justice yes! Democracy yes! Democracy yes! Dictatorship no! Dictatorship no! War no! War cannot! War cannot! Bring peace in Ethiopia! Bring peace in Ethiopia! US! Stop supporting! Stop financing! The butcher regime! The killer regime! The terrorist regime! In Ethiopia, Secretary Blinken, stop financing, stop supporting the terrorist regime, the killer regime. In Ethiopia, US, United Nations, US, stop wasting taxpayers' money on a terrorist regime, on a butcher regime. In Ethiopia, Ethiopian Prime Minister is a killer Prime Minister, is a butcher Prime Minister. Ethiopian Prime Minister is a war criminal. Ethiopian Prime Minister is a war criminal. Independent investigations into human rights violations in Oromia. Abiy Ahmed is starving the Oromo people. Stop burning Oromo village. Stop looting Oromo farms. Urgent humanitarian aid for victims of war in Oromia. No American money. No American tax. No American stars for a killer regime, for a killer Prime Minister in Ethiopia. No justice in Oromia. Amara militia out of Oromia. Terrorist fund no out of Oromia. Oromia belongs to Oromos. Oromiyaan ni bilisoomti. Lafeef dhiiga Oromootiin bilisoomti. Kijibaan kadhaadhaan hin bilisoomtu. Itoophiyaan abadan hin suphamtu.
Akkam ooltan. Baga nagaan dhuftanii baga nagaadhaan asitti wal geenye dhiifamaan ileetii ta'een dhufee qe'een jiruun ture eerpoortiidhaan dhufee sumaanan as dhufee ijoollee kofaana dhiifama. Kanatti aansinee xalayaa katabneetu jira. Xalayaa sana dubbisnaa jaratti dubbannee turre. Itoophiyaan deeskiin East African deeskiin tokkoyyuu hin jiranii manaa hojjechaatii jiru. Komaandarii keenyatti himnee namuu hin jiru jedhanii haa ta'u malee akkuma amaleeffanne nuti guyyaa tokko dura kan xalayaa kana erginu xalayaan kalee sagalee jira. Kanaaf uummata keenya warra maalinni kan isin gaafattanii maalinni kan isin dabarsitan jedhaniif yookaanis immoo nama waan kana arguuf maal akka jechaatii jirru akka dhagahaniif kunoo Dr. Baahiruun xalayaa kana nu dubbisu. Dr. Baahiruu fuulduratti koottaa warri viidiyoo kaastan warri uummata dabarsaa jirtan immoo kaastanii too akka dabarsitan asumaan baga nagaan dhuftanii jiraadhaa. Akkasuma warra qe'eettafan ilmaan Oromoo hundattiyyuu gara fuulduraatti hoggaa uummata keenya sagalee taanuu akka dabarsitanii himtan hoggaa sitti mul'annuu baay'annee akkuma baay'ina Oromoo sana mul'achuu danda'u akka dandeenyuuf walaa gargaarru gara fuulduraattis warri har'a dhuftan garuu baay'ee galata guddaa qabdu galatooma.
Honorable Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State, U.S. Department of State, dear Mr. Secretary,
before the world attention turned to the civil war in northern Ethiopia in 2020, gross human rights violations such as extrajudicial killings, rape, wanton destruction of homes and properties by the country's security forces and regime supporters have been daily occurrences in Oromia regional state as testified by Human Rights Watch. Little or nothing has changed during or after the civil war either. Not surprisingly, since the regime openly declared war on Oromo Liberation Army and Tigray People's Liberation Front in 2019, mass murder of innocent civilians by the regime security forces and their supporters have dramatically increased. So also, its seemingly standard modus operandi of blaming the fronts for the crime its security forces commit, according to Oromo Supporter Group published this year. The purpose of the latter is to dubiously turn local and international public opinion against the Oromo Liberation Army and justify the regime's atrocities on civilians. The latest example of such role reversal propaganda is the recent mass murder of Amhara settlers in Tole, Western Oromia. The purpose of the propaganda campaign is, of course, to slander Oromo Liberation Army and to sow seed of discord between Oromo and other communities residing in or out of Oromia. According to an eyewitness account to the Tole massacre, innocent villagers, mostly women and children, were mowed down with automatic weapons by forces organized by the government to impersonate Oromo Liberation Army fighters. A government official, particularly a member of the parliamentarians of Ethiopia, admitted to this when he was interviewed. Whereas the official confirms the atrocities were conducted by the government security forces, not Oromo Liberation Army, the translators flipped the story to make the exchange look like a collusion between government administrators and the Oromo Liberation Army. The tragedy of this case is that what appears to be government public relations official planted sensational news headlined, I quote, "More than 200 Amhara civilians killed in Oromia regional state," unquote. The inaccurate information was redistributed by international and national news media that numbers more than 30. 8 or 18 of them linked on Wikipedia already. The clip was recycled as is with no regard for first establishing factuality or accuracy of the allegations that prudent investigative journalism demands. The strategy of killing innocent civilians and blaming opposition groups and individuals perceived as a threat to the government is fast becoming Prime Minister Abiy and his ruling group's signature pattern of rule. Typical example of such cases are as follows. On June 29, 2020, Addis Standard reported popular Oromo artist Hachalu Hundesa was assassinated in the capital Finfinne or Addis Ababa. After his assassination, violence erupted and at least 176 people were killed and more than 900 were detained, including prominent opposition politicians, academicians, journalists, and several critics of the government. A day after the assassination, the Attorney General of the Federation gave a press conference informing the press corps that Hachalu's killer had been arrested and that he has confessed to killing Hachalu for a fee paid to him by the Oromo Liberation Army. That must have been a remarkable detective job, the likes of which we have never seen before, except that the official did not explain why an organization such as OLA that adores individuals like Hachalu reciprocates would want to have him killed. I'm not actually sure.
We are here, United States citizens. So the government right now is deploying so many troops, so many militias from different areas of the country to do all kinds of disaster in the state. That is to say, the government is alleging that Oromo Liberation Army is the reason for killings and what is going on in the country. But a couple of days ago, a person from the Ethiopian government came out to say the killings are happening because the government is trying to show the world that the OLA is the reason for the killings, but that's not true. Even their own people in the government are saying that the government is doing to stay in power. So we are here. The majority of the people dying in the country are Oromos, children, elderly, and on top of that, houses are burning, crops are burning. Problem right now, and killing people, alleging that the Oromos are doing this is not going to be a solution. That is not going to bring a solution. It's actually going to bring a civil war. That is going to be very, very bad because the country, there are many different ethnical groups that are in the country. So by pushing and making different reasons to fight among the ethnic groups, it's not going to bring peace. It's not going to bring stability. And as you know, the Oromo is the majority. It goes from the north to the south to the Kenya. So doing this to the Oromo is going to make the situation very, very worse. So we are asking United States to not to turn a blind eye on this situation because it will be a regrettable action. The United States to see what is true, not what the government says. The government is trying to stay in power, but staying in power is not going to save that country. It's not going to save the human rights abuse that is happening in the country. So we ask that United States looks into this situation ASAP because right now as we speak, the government is deploying heavy artillery, all kinds of military personnel from the federal and also from Amara region, the Amara militias, the Fanos to Oromia State. Yesterday, 160 heavy artillery and from Addis Ababa to the west. The day before, more than that. So we need help. The people of Ethiopia, not only Oromia, the people of Ethiopia needs help. And it will be late. It will be late, just like what happened in Rwanda. It will be late. Please, we appeal that you look into this situation. United States look into this situation. So this we are a community from here, Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania.
What is the name of your group?
Oromo community and from different areas. So we are Oromos. So, no, wait. Okay. So our appeal in general is you might have seen so many Ethiopians coming over here. That would tell you what is going on in that country. Even though there is a disagreement among the people, not the people, among the groups, but at the end of the day, what the government does has a whole lot to do with it. So the government of Ethiopia is not doing what the government usually supposed to be doing for its people, especially Oromo people. So
what would you like the United States to do? We have made statements on the recent violence. What do you think of what we are saying?
that alone is not enough. For example, we would like independent investigation to go to the areas that they are alleging OLA is the reason, and especially when their own personnel comes out and says OLA is not the reason, it's the government itself to try to convince the people. We would like independent investigation. Also, we would like United States not to support that government, because that government is not people's government. It's its own government, its own killer government. It's not supporting the people. It's not trying to bring peace.
So I will say that the government was elected. That's not to say that they can do whatever they want, and that the United States will have a relationship in which we feel free to tell them certain things that we see as wrong. Now, you're of course very welcome to your opinion. It is the elected government that we work with, and having voices like yours to listen to helps us develop thoughts about what is happening in places like Oromia, which sometimes are difficult for us to get to from the embassy.
Can I say Let me just say a word on what you just mentioned. We are not in any way expecting the United States to say or do anything that is going to negatively impact our ability to work with that country standard. And we don't even have any reason to expect that to happen. The bottom line, the truth is that the government is not, first of all, the government currently in power, as you probably know very well, or my colleagues in Africa Bureau understand perfectly well, was elected after he has silenced every single opposition voice in the country, particularly those who represent over 60%, I quote, 60% of the population of our country. So there was no option but elect him. That doesn't make it that he's a universally accepted or Ethiopia-wide accepted leader.
I agree.
With that, all what we are asking the United States, we know our country has enormous leverage on, let alone in Ethiopia, but any other country, just because of our relationship with many countries that we have developed over the years. What we are requesting in this case, first, let the case be known. Let the United States continue to put a little bit more pressure than it has done, for which we are extremely grateful. I know the key role that the State Department has played up to now to influence the process on the ground. That should continue relentlessly on our behalf. And many of us here, grateful immigrants from Oromia, will support whatever possible that we are able to as citizens. We support your position. We support the decision that you have taken so far, particularly the State Department, as I said, has been extremely relentless working on this issue. We know that. We just want that to be a little bit more impactful, particularly at this critical time. Sons and daughters are being massacred on a daily basis. This, I cannot say this enough. Human beings were pulled out of their house, sprinkled with those with gasoline and set on fire after publicating this on Facebook all over the country. They have killed people, tied them transported them to a booth, and them to death and shot them on the spot. It is Facebook all over. So this is the process of we just have
So how should we address the fact that recently there were some killings in Oromia that were some Oromos, presumably, but many Amhara as well. And that's also a big concern. And sometimes it's difficult to just, we want to address the situation in the appropriate manner, in the correct manner, without others thinking that we are ignoring another party or that we are supporting one party, because we want to address the suffering where it happens, and no matter who it is. And in some cases, it might be Amhara as well. I mean, how would we deal with that?
Let me just say, give you my opinion a little bit on that one. We are not anyone expecting anybody to take a position on part of one ethnic group in a given region. Nor do we actually do that, as I speak to you. We strongly believe in the right of the people who are in Oromia to continue to live in Oromia as Oromians. It's every birthright of the people in that country. Okay? However, what is increasingly becoming very clear is that the current regime is going out killing Oromos in Oromia, killing Amharas in Oromia, going up and killing Amharas in Tigray, and then killing Tigrayans in Amhara. And this is not fabricated story. I'm not making it up.
Right.
And blame each one of us.
Sure.
That is why when he came to power, he had 100% support of all Ethiopians. Today, there isn't a single Ethiopian group except the guys who are running the country with him and corrupted. Not a single ethnic group in Ethiopia can support his support in Abiy.
Right.
This is becoming increasingly the fact that everybody now knows.
Right.
This is a kind of a mafia regime, the way we see it, are working to achieve one single purpose: remain in power in Ethiopia. For us, they don't represent any ethnic group. They don't represent any nationality. They don't represent any religion or religion. However, their crime is being sold as a crime committed by Oromo government to kill the other nationality. We have never done it. Oromo Liberation Army existed for over 60, 70 years now. 60 years. How on earth one would accuse Oromo Liberation Army of massacring Oromos in Oromia? It's insanity.
Sure.
But for the people outside the city who don't understand that, yes, it may sound real, but it's not real. It's not true.
Okay.
That is the point that we want to get across.
Okay.
First of all,
Let the mother speak.
Oh, okay.
On top of that,
Let me just say,
okay.
I see someone in your position as having a very special role as well. And it really hurts some of us to see that sometimes the divisions that we see sometimes in Ethiopia extend also to the religious communities. And I think you have a special role when it comes to healing, because regardless of what happens in the future, bad things have happened on all sides, and there must be healing at some point in the future. I think you will have a big role.
That is why a whole religious leaders representative from Oromia is here today, because we are not here to claim somebody, not to claim somebody, but to find out the justice or the truth, what is going on the ground. So right now, as previously they mentioned, as a regime change, we all try to support because of the democracy, the freedom, fundamental human rights. Right now, in the ground, you are working on that, and the U.S. government is very concentrated and looking day and night what is going on the area, right? Especially for giving focus on the Tigray. In Oromia, day to day, right now, when I'm speaking with you, people were, innocent people were killed. So that is why we say the pressure you put on the government makes some of the religious, some of the political figures to came out from the prison, right? We appreciate that, what you are doing, but we need still support for those innocent people were just waiting for die for their turns, because the Benishangul Gums, on the Benishangul Gums there is a killing, in Gambela there is a killing, in all parts of the areas there is a killing. What we have seen, who did this? How that comes to the right place and with respect of the human equality and fundamental things. So we are very happy for what you are previously did and for working on the release of political prisoners, still political prisoners. Thousands of political prisoners in Oromia is in prison and suffering out of just most of them cannot live in Amara as it is own region in Amara, right? But claiming living in Oromia. But Oromo cannot live in a house in Oromia because they just give a name like Shaneos, a different name, and they start killing Oromo. They get license to kill Oromo on that name. So we, as you say, we are religious leaders here in the community need to just bring this one and discuss and solve this issue with United States government, because you are the strong supporter for us. We appreciate that, but we need a solution for this. Thank you.
Yeah. It's hard. You don't know how much we appreciate you you coming out here today. So, in short, what is going on in the country, as they all say, is the government clashing the ethnic group, different groups, to kill each other, and because of that, they all don't like each other, and the government can stay there. That's what they are doing. But Oromia, majority of the people, majority of the areas in Oromia are under siege. We can say that, especially in the west, in the south, very, very bad. In the center, very bad. So what we are asking is, as you know, Ethiopia cannot live without United States support. We know that. We know that. Today, you know that. A lot of countries know that. They don't even have they need a budget support, as we know. Right. And if United States does not come in, their government does not continue. But United States can control that. So we are asking, the United States support has to go to the right place. That's not the right place. We know all the time United States cares about the people. That's why they give the money. But the people are not getting that money. The money that goes from United States does not go to the people. It goes to finance whatever they want to do in that country. That's one. Number
whatever
two.
Who wants to do.
The government.
So we're not giving any money to the government these days because of initially what was happening in Tigray and other places. But right now, our relationship is such that we don't give money to the government. They understand that, and we've communicated that to them. They know exactly what we would want them to do for us to resume that relationship. The money that we provide in Ethiopia goes to basic human needs. A lot of it comes through USAID, for example, or through the State Department. Yes, a lot of it goes to places like Tigray, because there was a focus on that last year. But we understand the need in places like Oromia, especially because of the drought as well. So there is a lot of focus on that. I can assure you, really, we're not, the money that, if it doesn't go to people who need it, it's because the need is vast, it's big. And there's needs in other countries as well that we try to address. I can say that I believe that Ethiopia is maybe one of the number one recipients of humanitarian assistance from the United States in the world. But still, the need is vast. But it is not being directed by the Ethiopian government at this point. We don't have that relationship with them right now.
Okay. And the second...
I want to stake in is the role of independent investigation. In Ethiopia, what is being done is the government perpetrates mass killings, blames an opposition party, and the entire world takes that news and broadcasts it as if it is a biblical truth. What we have been asking for generations is that an independent investigation needs to happen, not by an Ethiopian body. The Ethiopian Human Rights Commission is not a representative human rights commission. It is a biased organization, like any other Ethiopian organization. We don't have an institution that works. Say that? Because they don't. Because we know, and you know too. What they do is they always propagate in the name of a certain group, but they redress it. They sugar coat it, and the entire world takes it and tells us as if it is truth. What we are asking is, if you want to find the truth, if the international community wants to find the truth, form an independent group, neutral group, not aligned with the Oromo, not aligned with the Amara, not aligned with the Ethiopian government, not even aligned with the African Union, because the African Union itself is also biased. It has been there. No investigation has taken place. So what we beg of you, the same rights we enjoy here. I'm here in the United States because I enjoy my rights. The same rights I enjoy, the same reason that brought me from so far to come here, and to make a profession, to live here, right? To pay tax. Those rights should be extended to my fellow Oromo back home. How can that be done? you need to help us. The United Nations needs to help us. The international community needs to help us. What has been done is the international community has neglected, especially the Oromo. We are neglected. We feel we are alienated. We feel we are just relegated to whoever comes to power to play with us.
Right.
And the thing is, even when we try to fight it, nowadays no one's to fight, right? No international community says you have to fight. So what is being done is that, so we need really a credible investigation, as has been asked by the Human Rights Watch, as has been asked by the Amnesty International and other human rights organizations. Incredible, independent, neutral investigation. Find the truth. Go wherever the truth might lead to. Thank you.
Just to answer your why question for my friend, why we believe that the Ethiopian Human Rights Organization is not administrative, nor does it say the truth. Just about 2 months ago, several Oromo traditional elders were murdered. 17 of them were murdered.
Yes, in December.
In December.
Yes.
The first thing that the government said, Oromo Liberation Army killed them. Ethiopian Human Rights Commission never said a word for subsequent 3 or 4 weeks until Representative Hangasa, who is a parliamentarian in Ethiopia, legally still operating as a parliamentarian, came out and told the whole world that killing was carried out by our government, Oromia government, under the leadership of Shimallis Adunya, who is the governor of Oromia. That is the time when, after he said that, Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, together with the United Nations, came out and made a pronouncement. That killing was conducted by the government. That is why we don't trust them. For the first time, they admitted their government has committed genocide only after their own came out and told the whole world in a way that they cannot. Thank you. Okay.
The same thing, to piggyback on what he said, the same thing happened last week. The same person came out to tell what happened. Yes.
Yeah. Let me ask, how much longer are you here? Because I will say it was very loud. So I get phone calls from everyone in this building.
Look, this is the most important part we wanted to see. Thank you for coming. After this, we can move. 10 minutes, we can go.
No problem. We need all inclusive
dialogue in Ethiopia. Otherwise, that country is going to go collapse.
So I did want to ask, like, there is a National Dialogue Commission.
That's a fake. That's a fake.
No, nobody, even the Ethiopian government doesn't believe in that. They are just orchestrating it for us, for the international community's consumption.
We are only asking for independent investigation. That is it.
Is it okay to give you this?
Thank you.
They cherry pick who should get into the commission.
Yes,
Please can we get your name and your
Sir, it's Jeffrey Parker.
Thank you very much.
I'm the Ethiopia desk here. Let me just say, so anyone in this country, I assume most of you are American citizens, you're very welcome to criticize this government. I criticize this government, everyone does, it's fine. As the government in Ethiopia as well. What I would ask is that the danger in a country like Ethiopia is that you have these thick lines drawn between ethnicities, for example. And we would ask that you not fall to that trap of demonizing another group, like we see sometimes on social media. It's so easy to anonymously post something on social media against the Amhara, against the Oromo, the Tigrayans, but it really does not help. Sure. It really does.
We concur with you.
Because the government can take advantage of that.
Sure. We understand what you said right in the mouth. We know it is happening.
Yeah. The thing is, Amhara people and Oromo people has been living together for centuries.
Yes, Ethiopia is a very old country.
Yes, but now it's a group like Fano, like Amhara militia. Yeah. Those are the ones going around. So
if you go to Ethiopia and look at things, the only place where all people live together is in Oromia. Yeah. Now what? That you don't find an Oromo in Tigray, or not much Oromo in Amhara.
No.
So we are in Oromo. We have been living together for a long time.
Right.
And the other point is the community leaders, as well as we, the faith leaders, are telling our people, educating our people that what we want is really a truly unbiased democratic order where we all could live together on equal basis, on freedom. So
that's
just
happened once Oromo leave the country. That's only happened if the Oromo leave the country. So
it doesn't matter.
Not necessarily. That's very different. It should not matter.
Whoever lives,
we should be
peaceful.
well.
Yeah.
Do you have to say something for some words for them, for the people here? If you will give a mic and then say something,
well,
because you are working on that, we know that. But
no, that's fine. I think perhaps if you just relay what I was saying, because I do need to.
Okay.
Because I cover Ethiopia, I'm very busy.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
I miss the meeting right now.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Not even in the name of, not in the name of Oromo people only, in the name of Ethiopian people, because it's not only the Oromo, it's the entire country that is suffering today.
I understand.
Thank you so much for coming out.
It is a priority for us. Maybe you don't realize that. Maybe because it seems that progress is very slow, and you don't understand when we tweet something or when we have a statement. But I can promise you that for this administration, it is a priority. Ethiopia is important to us. And we have, I speak to my colleagues, and we have so much respect for the country because of its history, especially. And we see the importance of Ethiopia for other African nations, the way African nations look to Ethiopia for guidance and for inspiration. So it is important to us that Ethiopia succeed. But thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. May God bless you. May God bless you.
We'll quiet now.
We'll be leaving.
Okay.
No
Thank you
problem.
so much.
Thank you.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. So you were a diplomat in Ethiopia or here? I said
No, Makasa, it's okay.
Here in Washington, India, and as part of my services, I'm grateful to the country that gives us. I think I can at the age of 50, I didn't book one. Thank you so much. Very nice to talk to you. All right, take care.
Yeroo baay'achuunis sagalee qabaachuunis akkasitti walaa dhaggeeffannu. Yeroo baay'achuu fi sagalee qabaachuun akkasitti namallee gannamaafidha. Namtichi sagaleen keessan garmalee guddaa ture jedha. So baga dhufnee baga sagalee keenya guddisnee kana caala immoo doo baay'annee dhufnee kana caala sagalee taana namoonni achi turtan baay'ee nageessaniittu baay'ee priority tokkoffaadha waa'een biyya sanii nuun jedhee jira. Wanna ta'aatii jiru kana hunduma isaayyuu quba qabanii akkuma dandeenyuu fi wannuma ta'aatii jiru hunduma isaayyuu itti dubbannee jirra. Priorityidha irratti hojjechaatii jirra guyyaadhaan wanna ta'uu hin beeknaa jedhee xalayaa keenyas galchinee inni kaleessa achi jira Itoophiyaa deeskirraa dhufee waan danda'amu hunda hin goonaa jedheera. Waan tokko lama kan garmalee gaafannee tokko independent investigation ta'uutu irra jiraata jenneeni isaa fophuun nurraa fudhateera akkaataatti ta'uu hin qindeessu ta'a. Inni lammaffaa garuu maallaqni isin gargaarsaa kennitanii haajaa isaanii baasa malee haajaa uummataan baasuu jennaan nuti maallaqan kenninuu jedhe. nuti maallaqa jalatti hin kenninu irraa dhaabnee jirra ammas hin kenninu jedhee jira kuni waan guddaadha. Kana xalayaan keenya waan baay'ee wanna ta'aatii jiru kana hin himaa xalayaa sitti kennineerra amma gabaabsaa Toofiqaa wanna sin jettan dhagayeera galatoomaa jedhee deeme kana hin deemna daqiiqaa 2 abbootii amantaa keessaa nama filadhaatu warra abbootii amantaa nama tokko as ergaa uummata keenyaa fi biyya keenyaaf waaqa kadhannee asii deemna jechuudha. Kottaa daqiiqaa 2 waa'ee biyya keenyaa fi waa'ee uummata keenyaa duwwaa kadhaa.
Tole galatoomaa hundumti keessanii waaqayyoo galanni isaaf haa ta'u as dhaabbannee sagalee jara hidhamanii jara ajjeesamaa jiraniif ta'uun keenya uummata keenyarra waan ta'aa jiruu fi dhaabbannee aduu kana keessa sagalee wal kaasnee akkuma sila jedhame sagantaa kana qopheessuurraa uummata walitti qabuurraa jalqabee hawaasni Oromoo DMV jiru gumaachinni godhe waan guddaadha galata guddaa jiraa qabna sagalee keessan guddistanii kaastanii walga'iyyuu taa'uu dadhabne bilbilayyuu deebisuu dadhabne sagalee keessan nutti yee jedhanii achi as nutti ba'anii sagalee keessan wal kaastanii uummata keessaniif sagalee kan taatanii galatoomaa mee harka walitti dhaadhaa uuma keessaniif jechuudha galata guddaa qabdu kanarraan kan hafe dhimma gaaffii Oromoon qabu hundumaa nu dhaggeeffatanii jiru. Dr. Baharuun ajjiru gaggeessitoonni amantaallee wanti hundumtuu himameeti jira waaqaaf galanna ta'u furmaanni Oromoo waaqaa fi uummata Oromoo harka jira miti waaqayyo nu haa gargaaru itti deemaa jirra waan itti baanu waaqayyo karaa isaa nuuf gabaabsu waaqayyo uummanni keenya waan yaadaa jiru sagaraa isaa laphee isaa keessa jiru waan gaarii ta'e sana nuuf kennu hunda keenyaaf tokkummaa keenya nuuf cimsu. Alagaa nu balleessuudhaaf nu ajjeesuudhaaf biyyaa nu baasuuf karaa adda addaatiin nurratti afaanii jalqabee amma waraanaa meeshaa nurratti kaasee deemu waaqayyo nurraa dhaabu gaachana nuuf ta'u waaqayyo jara miidhamanii jiran nuuf yaanu jara du'anii jiran lubbuu isaanii waaqayyo mootummaa isaa lafa boqonnaa gaarii lubbuu isaanii nuuf boqochiisu jarammoo uummata keenya eegaa ittisaa jiranu agabuu bulanii miilla duwwaa deemanii lubbuu isaanii tokkoon qabanu sana kennuudhaaf uummata keenya eeguudhaaf jiranii waaqayyo irree isaanii nuuf jabeessu waaqayyo amaarraa jara eegu diini fuulduree isaanii hin dhaabbatin kanuma uummanni keenya egaa tokkummaa hayyoota keenya cimsannee biyya keenyaaf uummata keenya sadu'aa jiru manni irratti gubachaa jiru makiinaa konkolaataa keessaa buusanii rasaasaan ajjeesaa balleessaa maqaa balleessaa jiran kana waaqayyo immoo isin gaajiree nurraa dhaabee gaanfa Afrikaa sanaaf uummata guddaa kana sabaaf sablammii kaaniifillee abdii kan ta'u waaqayyo nu haa taasisu waaqayyo tokkummaa keenya nuuf cimsu hayyooti amantaa gaggeessitoonni adaraanaan jennaan hin asbee malee hundumtuu naasa'uu turanii galatoomaan isiniin jedha.
Luba Saamu'eel baay'ee galatoomaa asirratti finnaa naannoo kana yoo xureessinee jiraanne haa qulqulleessinuu dhaabbatee jira fixanneerraa galatooma kana booda hoggaa ergaa isinitti erginu adaraa community duwwaa odoo hin ta'in nama asitti argitan kana duwwaa odoo hin ta'in isin hundumtuu sagalee Oromooti isin hundumtuuyyuu ergaa Oromoo warra dabarsu yoo ergaa argitan walitti dabarsaa adaraa ergaa walitti dabarsinu malee wal dhageenyu malee asitti gadi ba'uu hin dandeenyu waan Oromoo irratti hojjechuu hin dandeenyu kanaafuu adaraa walaa gargaarru jiraadhaa galatoomaa asirratti finnaa nagaan qe'ee keessanitti gala. Anan bira Pennsylvania galateeffadha. Tokko odoon hin jedhin kan inni irra darbe Pennsylvania DC caala baay'ata. Please Pennsylvania harka kennaa. Baay'ee galatoomaa warri kana qindeessuu keessatti carraa fudhattanii waan hunda gootan baay'ee galata guddaa qabdu walitti deebinaa hoggaa walitti deebinu adaraa walitti himaa walitti dabarsaa.
Galatoomaa anillee galatoomaan jedha warra Pennsylvania otoo hin ta'in hundi keessan dubartii baay'ee nu boonsitaniitu jara keenya waggaa 10 anas dhufaan ture har'a nama qubaan lakkaa'amu jechuu nan danda'a warra kanaan dura hiriira guddaa ture sagalee keessattu nutti iyyee jedhanii I don't think so. Sagalee bosona Oromiyaa keessattu dhaga'ame. So, obbo keenya illee irraa jabaannaa Sagaleen keenya achaa dhaga'amu, okay? Galatuma.
Darabiraammoo akkuma kana gaafa 29 aadaa jirra. Gaafa 29 hundi keessanii namoota hafanii akka isaan ayyamas fudhatanii ammaa kaasaa walitti daddabarsaa irratti hojjennee immoo irraabsina akkuma kana gaafa 29tti qophaa'a. Galatoomaa woboon horuu galatoomaa.
Akka konaadhiisaa as keessa keessummaa tokko illee qabnaa callumadhee maqaa isaanii dha'uun barbaade Dr. Ittaanaa baga diiseetti nutti makamtan galatoomaa. Tun carraa argateellee sekendii tokko dubbate barbaadaan ture garuu afachaa. Dr. Ittaanaa galatoomee uummata keetiif sagalee ta'utti fufee gara biraan ijoolleen woboo tiim sookariin torban dhufu Minisootaa deemu maaloo warri nun gargaarin ijoollee sookar woboo tiim maqaan woboo ol kaa'amee argamuu qaba. Ijoollee woboo tiimii bira akkatti dhaabbatan biliis kontaaktii nu godhaa. Gara biraan Dr. Ittaanaa daqiiqaa tokkoof nu dubbisi.
Akkam jirtu hundi keessan nagaa keessanii baga jiraattanii dhufee amma naannoo kanatti isinitti makameera. Kana booddee walii wajjiniin hiriiras walii wajjiniin baana waan hundumaa walii wajjiniin hojjenna. Baay'ee nama gammachiistu baay'ee isinitti gammadeera. Hundi keessan iyyuu akkasitiin dadhabdanii iddoo fagoodhaa dhiyoodhaa wal fudhattanii iddoo kana dhufuu keessanii fi baay'ee galatoomaa. Yeroo uummanni keenya rakkina jabaa keessa jiru kana keessa wanta xiqqoo waanuma xiqqoo ofirraa murree iddoo kana dhufuun isaaniif waan guddaadha isaaniif. Waan amma nurratti taasifamaa jiru kana waan duula nurratti banamaa jiru kana qawweedhaan siyaasaan maaliin maqaballeessiidhaan ilaallee nama rafnu hin turre. Nama miti waan amma ta'aa jiru kana horiin iyyuu ofirraa lolti. Horiin saawwii garmalee yoo isinii qeesee itti dabarte ofirraa lolti. Kanaaf Oromoon ofirraa loluunsa, ofirraa rukutuunsa sirriidha. Warri as jirrus immoo sagalee taanee uummata keenyaaf dubbachuun keenya sirriidha. Isin hin dadhabsiisu baay'ee naa galatooma. Yeroo biraa deebinee gaafa hiriirri waamamu sagantii kan biraa irratti wal argina baay'ee galatooma.
Baay'ee galatooma anasiisaa waraadha. Gadaa miidiyaa Network-irraa Dr. Araguyyaa kana sirbugootiin baay'een gammada. Kan dolleen interview galee beena. Mee qabxii lama tokkoon si kaasuu barbaada. Haala madeemaa jiru kanaanii mee rakkoon Oromoof Oromiyaa keessa jiru akkamittiin kanarra dandamatee keessaa ba'uu danda'a?
Wanta haaraa waan jedhu hin qabu yeroo kaan jennu caalaa wanti ni jedhu hin jiru. Wanti Oromoon godhate rakkina isaa keessaa bahu rakkina inni keessa jiru kan inni madaalamu. Rakkinni itti dhufe rakkina siyaasaa duwwaa miti rakkina qawweetiin mucaa namaa lafarraa fixuuti. Uummanni Oromoos wanti inni gochuu qabu lolee ofirraa deebisuudha. Kana wanti biraan maaltu jira? Isa booddeedha kanii uummanni keenya argachuu danda'u. Erga lolamtee, erga reebamteeti, erga rukutamtee, erga tuffatamteeti akka inni sitti dhufetti ofirraa deebisteetu waan ta'u goota malee isa booddee maaloodha wanti itti gootu kan biraan maaltu jira wanti ani jechuu danda'u kanumadha akka itti uummati keenya ofirraa deebisuu danda'u of dagannaa duwwaa ofirraa hambisuudha. Of dagannaa dubbii nagaa jedhamee amma oduu safara keessaa odeeffamu lafa keenye lolatu nurratti banamee jira. Lola isa dhufee sin rukuta siin jedhee jalqaba rukuttee ofirraa deebisuudha. Nagaa jennee inni wal goomsinu. Inni wal goomsinu inni dubbii sobaati. Nama qe'ee nagaa keessa jiraatu, nama nagaa mana keessa jireenya isaa jiraatu, nama ijoollee mana barumsaatti ergatee taa'ee eegu reeffa fudhatu kan qe'eensaa irratti gubatamuuni ituunni tokko dhufee manatti sajjeesu ati immoo isaan garrinsis garanas nagaa buusaan itti jettu inni kun harka kennadhaa'ii jechuudha. Kanarraa of eeggachuutu nurra jira. Lolatu nurra jira ituu lola keessa jirtu harka ol kaastee nagaatti ta'a harka kennachuu. Kanaafi uummati keenya lolameera lolee ofirraa deebisu. Kana dhawaansa wanta kan biraan jiru.
Tole baay'ee galatoomee Dr. Gaaffii koo xumuraadha. Meegaan erga akkasitti hawaasni Oromoo biyya alaa jiru kun maal gochuu qaba? Haala amma deemaa jiru kana ajjeechaan karaan dumaan Oromootti dhaga'ameera. Uummati Oromoo biyya alaa haala uummata Oromoof Oromiyaan keessa jiru irraa qoluudhaaf gumaacha guddaa kan gochuu danda'u maalidha? Maal yaada akkamii laataaf karaa keetiin?
Nuyi namni ala jirru kun ergammas dubbadheera yeroo baay'ees dubbataan jira qooda mataa keenyaa qabna. Qoodi nuyi qabnu jira keenya wanta ifa galaadha. Lolatu banamee jira. Ijoolleen lubbuu isaanii kennanii waan danda'an godhanii loluudhaa fi laga bu'anii jiru. Lola loluudhaaf. Nuyi lola sana loluu hin dandeenyu achin jiru. Kanaafi warri ala jirru kuni wanti nu goonu deeggarsa qabsoo lafarra jiruu fi deeggarsa gochuudha. Maaltu lola amma Oromoon keessa jiruuf deeggarsa ta'aa jennee wal gaafannee wanta lola sana ofirraa deebisuuf barbaachisu deeggaruudha. As teenyee wanti nu goonu kana malee wanta kan biraan hin jiru. Tokkoffaa wanti hooggansa jedhamu ala kana hin jiru. Jechuun hooggansa kennuu yaada kennuudha kan inni dandeenyu malee hooggansi Oromoo ala kana hin jiru. Wanti ala kana jiru deeggarsa. Namni hammi kun wanti inni ijoollee Oromoo laga jirtuuf gochuu danda'u deeggaruudha. Wiirtuun siyaasa Oromoo amma achirra jira. Isarratti kan nuyi hundi keenya wal gargaarree wanti kun akka inni itti ija godhachuu danda'u irratti hojjechuu qabna. Akka Tigraay godhee jechuudha. Tigraay amma nagaan arganne miti. Rakkina guddaa keessa jiru miti. Garuu isa qe'ee isaanii balleessuudhuuf isa rukutuu dhufu funyaan rukutanii funuunsanii ofirraa deebisanii. Gaafa sana goote ulfinaan waamamta. Isa deeggaruudhaaf nurra jiru jechuudha wanta kan biraa.
Tole baay'ee galatoome guyyaa raammoo as dhuge baay'ee itti gammadeera. Tole.
Fayyataa hundumti keessanii kabajaan hadeemnu bishaan faa yoo lafatti ganne irra taa'anii please akaafnu naamusaadhaaf kabajaan beekamna diisiini akka kanattiin gara dhufnetti deebina gaafa 29 ta'e guyyaan isaas yoo jijjiirame isinitti beeksifna akkasuma dhufnee uummata keenyaaf sagalee haa taanu nu biraa nafinaa wal biraa nafnu maaliif torbaniin hin ta'in hirrina nagaa hin goona yoomiyyuu. Warri woboo tiimii gargaaruu barbaadan tiimiin woboo tokko nufu Minisootaa deemnee taphanna barreen gaddaa shaampiyoona taanee deemne Hashabdiidhaa fi Zeeliin nabirallee jiru ijoolleen warri orgaanaayizii godhaa jiran please na ilaala. I can give you the cash out and the Zeel account. Isiniin kenna amma.
Harus Gadaa Media Network sagantaan irraa kan fakkaatu ture egaan sagantaa keenya ammaatti wantoonni hordofanii fi galtumaan isin jenna waraabula.
Gadaa Media Network sagalee qabsoo Oromoo ta'uun rakkoo Oromiyaa fi lammiilee ishee irra murna PP'n ga'aa jiru gabaasaa hiyyoona ga'ee jira. Miidiyaan kun tumsa uummata isaan kana caalaa cimee hojjechuun sagalee uummata sagaleen isaa ukkaanfamee jiru akka ta'uuf ga'een uummata Oromoo murteessaadha. Kanaaf Gadaa Media Network waliin haa guddisnu. Gadaa Media Network gargaaruun rakkoo uummata Oromoo irra ga'aa jiru saaxiluudha waan ta'eef miidiyaa keessan gargaaruun dirqama Oromummaa keessanii ba'aa. Toora gargaarsa Gadaa Media Network armaan gadi irratti miidiyaa keessan tumsaa jenna. Gadaa Media Network utubaa qabsoo Oromoo.